So time now for a look back at time. Let's do a little random Colorado history. Boy, it's been a while. I missed this segment. Next week will be the 100-year anniversary of Denver's most deadliest riots. In August of 1920, thousands of people took to the streets during the tramway strikes. And as we look back, there are some parallels from today to that time, including a pandemic. 100 years ago, the people who lived and died before our time were experiencing a global pandemic that killed millions. In Colorado, the Spanish flu killed 7,000 people, leading to fear, frustration, and anger.
And so we were reeling from that. We were really suffering from a number of things by 1920. We'd been through World War I. We'd had extreme inflation.
Longtime history professor Dr. Stephen Leonard tells us that frustration may have impacted the tramway strike riots. About a year after the flu began to subside, tramway workers stopped operating the cars in an effort to get more pay. Their massive strike brought Denver to a halt beginning on August 1st, 1920.
And literally tens of thousands of people were dependent on the tramway. Mainly to get downtown, to get to places of business, to go shopping.
As the strike continued, strikebreakers arrived in Denver to replace the workers. Rioters took to the streets. Mesh was placed over the trams to protect passengers. People with fire targeted cars that were burned and overturned.
Rioters, tore through downtown. Many of them hated the Denver Post because of the policies of its publisher. So they attacked the Post and they tried to set fire to the Post building.
Bullets flew in the city. Ads appeared in the paper for riot insurance. Eventually, more than 700 troops came into Denver to quell the violence as newspapers documented 7 deaths.
So in terms of deaths, this was certainly the worst in Denver's history.
A time of turmoil and anger, a time when extreme thinking began to take root in the city. A city that has quite a history with those men in white who eventually became politically powerful.
And the Ku Klux Klan positioned itself in that period as a group very much in favor of law and order. So they were able to take advantage of that unsettled period to work their own evil ends.
And special thanks to the Denver Public Library and the Western History Collection for those photos so we could share this story with you. It's estimated up to 10,000 people participated in those riots and protests way back then.